A student of nursery in law would tell you bail is the rule, jail is exception. But this bail is rule, jail is exception is not the rule for everyone. They talk of rule of law. I have no inhibition saying that today and for the last more than 11 years now, there is no rule of law. This young boy, Umar Khalid, they want to give a message. Question is not only of Umar Khalid. To my mind, Umar Khalid represents the youth of country, the people who can raise voice, people who are knowledgeable. Umar Khalid is not a man from street. He's in JNU, he's an intellectual. He's an intellectual. I heard his speeches. And nothing is wrong in that speech. There's nothing wrong. I feel this should be investigated. My view is that this is not rejection on merit. So this is the right time, Nilu, you asked very good question, and this is the point the countrymen should ponder over, at least the intellectuals should ponder over, or the revolutionists and the comrades, that they should raise this voice that he should not be made and impeachment should be moved right now. And
you're saying impeachment against Justice Suryakant?
Naturally.
No, but are there enough evidences? Are there enough evidences to move an impeachment motion against him? Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. We've often spoken about what's ailing the Indian judiciary. All doesn't seem to go well as far as the Indian judiciary is concerned, especially talking about high courts and the way the Supreme Court is functioning. Let's now start with what happened yesterday. The Delhi High Court on Tuesday denied bail to activists Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, and 7 others facing prosecution in a UAPA case linked to the alleged conspiracy behind the February 2020 riots. Now, denied bail means that they have been languishing in jail for more than 1,815 days. But even then, the courts do not find merit to give them the bail. Now, this was a bench of Justices Naveen Chawla and Shalinder Kaur, which pronounced the order on the bail pleas of Khalid Imam, Mohammad Salim Khan, Shifa ur Rahman, Athar Khan, Miran Haider, Abdul Khalid Saifi, Gulshifa Fatima, and Shadab Ahmad. Now, all the appeals are dismissed. This was a one-line order which the bench held on Tuesday after reserving its order on July 9th. Now, the accused persons have been in jail since 2020 and they moved the High Court against the trial court order dismissing their bail pleas. The prosecution had opposed the bail pleas, saying that it was not a case of spontaneous riots, but a case where riots were well planned in advance with a sinister motive and well thought out conspiracy. And if you look at what Solicitor General Tushar Mehta has said, he representing the prosecution that contended that it was a conspiracy to defame India on a global level and mere long incarceration was no ground for bail. This is what the Solicitor General, who's representing the prosecution, says. Now, this is one case I'm going to talk about, but let's come to the Supreme Court now. We'll talk about Umar Khalid's bail being denied, but let's also talk about what is happening in the Supreme Court with the latest elevation of Justice Vipul Pancholi. Now, this elevation has happened despite Justice B.V. Nagaratna, another Supreme Court senior judge, pointing out within the collegium that the appointment of Justice Pancholi will be counterproductive to the administration of justice and could undermine the credibility of the collegium system. Her dissent note was not uploaded on the Supreme Court website. Her dissent was not published anywhere. And when certain portions came out in the media, people started trolling her. That was the kind of response which everyone got. But no one wants to talk about the fact that Justice Pancholi's elevation, despite all the controversies, why it happened. So basically, something is really going wrong within the four walls of the judiciary. Today, we have a very special guest from New York. He is a former secretary of the Supreme Court Bar Association, and he's currently residing in New York because he's pursuing the American laws over there. Ashok Arora joins us this evening on HW. Thank you so much, Mr. Arora, for joining. And it's a little odd time because our time zones don't match. But it's always a pleasure having you on a program because I've been listening to you on a number of platforms where you've spoken in plain words and very harsh words about what's happening within the judiciary. I want to start with you with the manner in which the bail plea has been denied to Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Ahmed, and several others, saying that they waged a conspiracy against the nation. Now, the basic premise of any justice is that bail is the rule and jail is the exception. This basic premise has been forgotten by most of the judges when it comes to giving justice to your own citizens.
Nilu, I'm sorry, I'll take time to comment upon this, It's so difficult. I mean, I'm not shocked, in fact, I'm not shocked, but everybody's at pain. Anybody having faith in rule of law, anybody having faith in democracy would feel sad that what is happening. I've been watching for last more than half a century now that whatever has been happening in judiciary. This, what you said, Nilu, is the basic law. A student of nursery in law would tell you bail is the rule, jail is exception. But this bail is rule, jail is exception is not the rule for everyone. They talk of rule of law. I have no inhibition saying that today and for the last more than 11 years now, there is no rule of law. There is no rule of law for the last more than 11 years now. Because when it comes to the fellow who has been spreading hatred, Arnab, they sit on Saturday. They hold bench. No, it is question of personal liberty. Justice Chandrachud was too sharp, too quick. I have no complaints that personal liberty should not be given precedence. But then it should be rule of law for everyone. This young boy, Umar Khalid, they want to give a message. Question is not only of Umar Khalid. To my mind, Umar Khalid represents the youth of country, the people who can raise voice, people who are knowledgeable. Umar Khalid is not a man from street. He's in JNU. He's an intellectual. He's an intellectual. I heard his speeches. And nothing is wrong in that speech. There's nothing wrong. And this man is in jail. Umar Khalid, what they do? What they do, they set an example that if you do this, if you say against the Prime Minister, if you say against this man, you would always be denied bail. And Justice Naveen Chawla and the other judge who have dismissed, I feel this should be investigated. My view is that this is not rejection on merit. This is not rejection on merit. And message comes from top.
In fact, to the contrary, the bench said that, the case is progressing on a natural pace. Do you think that 5 years, if a man has been denied bail or a group of persons have been denied bail, do you think that this is a natural pace at which a case is progressing?
This is not only unnatural, this is torturous pace. I think they should consult the dictionary again. 5 years. The law says when the session trial starts, as per the law, the case should go day to day. If the person is denied bail, then trial should have been over in less than a week. Or if you have too many witnesses, maybe less than a month. It should have been day-to-day trial. If you're denying bail, have day-to-day trial and pronounce the judgment. So basically, they know that this case is not going to result in conviction. That is why they are delaying the trial also. Otherwise, they should have conducted trial. Every time, whenever the person is in jail, the court would say either you finish the trial in couple of weeks or I am granting bail. This has been the practice. But for last 11 years, as I said, what happened before Justice Bela Trivedi? Before Justice Bela Trivedi, the bail had to be withdrawn because the indications were that she was not granting bail. She was also trying to adjourn day after day, day after day. So the message circulates that Supreme Court doesn't want to give him bail. So therefore, they get the indication. They get the indication. So Supreme Court has not granted. They have withdrawn. So the idea is that we should also not grant. If this much injustice, if the court can give, where is rule of law? I mean, this is not a magistrate court or session court. High court judges, two high court judges sitting together, if they can do injustice to the total community of youth, right-thinking people, those who believe in democracy, those who believe in freedom of speech, they have given message that you have no freedom of speech. If you speak against them, you would be denied bail for ages. 5 years, that's what I say. One is in tears. You take, I took time to start. You are so much at pain. What is happening? And it is happening all because I first blame the lawyers. When I talk of judicial system, I don't talk of only judges. More than 3 decades back, I remember we had organized a seminar on independence of judiciary. And our great, one of the strongest lawyer ever born here in India, many times law minister, one of the finest gentlemen, I say, a great human being. I mean, all adjectives I must put before this man. Ram Jethmalani said that without corrupt bar, corrupt judiciary cannot exist. So I blame bar first. And when I blame bar, I don't blame the ordinary or the common lawyer, because common lawyer, 90% they are busy with their work. I blame the so-called leaders. I call them so-called leaders because actually they are not leaders. They are elected representatives. So corrupt elected representatives are more responsible than the judges, because those corrupt elected representatives are responsible. They don't speak. Now you were talking of Justice Pancholi. His number is 57. The bar doesn't speak. The tall man, the president of Supreme Court bar, he doesn't speak a word. He doesn't utter a word. What are you doing? So see the injustice done. What is the injustice? Why Justice Nagaratna said that this is counterproductive? Because if you appoint somebody at the list number seniority of 57, but you are trying to do 56 high court judges are disappointed. 56 high court judges are disappointed. And when judges are disappointed, this is common sense, this is human psychology. When you are disappointed, you lose interest in delivering justice. You feel, okay, if I will not do, Supreme Court will do, so let me do. And not only that, see the saddest part of it, with all regards to those 56 affected parties, I'll say, victims, I'll say, they are victims. Basically, they are victims. They are victims. The world knows they are victims. World knows I am a victim and I don't take stand. This is where I am coming. Out of 56, not even one had the guts or the morality or the courage to resign, that I am resigning. You cannot do anything. Of course, you cannot force Supreme Court judges to appoint you. But who stops you from resigning? If all 56 would have resigned, all 56, I'm calling their conscience. I mean, let them search, introspect. By not resigning, they have further done the damage. They have done more damage by not resigning. Had they resigned, it would have been determined.
Arora, it's easy to say, but would you think that those 56 judges or 55 judges would resign just en masse just because of one elevation which has happened in Supreme Court? Do you think that there's so much of unity within the judges? when so many of the judges, they have their inclination or their loyalty towards the government? Would they ever do that?
You are right, Nilu. Absolutely, you're 100% right. They don't do that. But should they do that? Question is this: should they do that? Had they resigned, they did same with Bela Trivedi was brought there. Bela Trivedi, and you see, Bela Trivedi was also the one who did injustice to this young boy.
Khalid, yes. 14 adjournments. 14 adjournments on this case under Bela Trivedi.
So they should understand that if we don't follow, then we'll not be elevated. And if you are not following, if you don't follow, you won't be elevated, then where is the purpose of sitting there? You have taken oath, I'll deliver justice, secure social, economic, political justice for all, equality for all. But you are not doing. If you are not able to do your job, should you continue? That is the question I am asking to all these 56. You have taken oath, I will administer justice without ill will, fear, or favor. And you are not able to do that. Should you continue? You ask your own conscience. Should you continue?
Just allow me to interrupt you. You made some two very important points. One is in case of Umar Khalid's case, you said that let this matter be investigated. Why Justice Sharinder Kaur and Justice Naveen could deny bail to Umar Khalid. Now, who is going to investigate according to you?
Any jurist? Every jurist is writing.
Jurist, as in you mean to say a retired judge or
yeah. There are so many strong judges. Justice Lokur is speaking openly. I mean, whosoever is speaking, with guts. Let any judge analyze this. Analyze this and say whether it is rightly rejected or not. I am saying it. I mean, they're all junior to me. I am sorry to use this word. I'm much more experienced than these fellows. They were never, one of them was never in criminal law. They never practiced in criminal law. Justice Chawla. And you know how he was appointed. You all know that. So what he is doing? I can absolutely claim I can teach him criminal law. I've been teaching criminal law in Institute of Criminology, being managed by Home Ministry for last more than 2 decades. So this is, I don't say believe my statement. Let it be examined by Justice Lokur and let him say that whether it is rightly rejected or wrongly rejected. So this is total injustice. This is a threat to democracy. My point is this: I am not saying it is only Umar Khalid. Rejection of bail to Umar Khalid is threat to democracy. You are telling the world there is no democracy. That is why it is not me.
Right.
In Sweden, a VDEM Institute and Freedom House, which is of US, these are foreign countries they are analyzing. They all say that there is no democracy in India. I'm not saying this VDEM and Freedom House, they are saying there is no democracy in India. Christopher Jeffrey, one of the finest jurists I say in the world, he says there is no democracy for last 11 years. This is Christopher Jeffrey. A number of jurists, they have commented that there is no democracy. Judiciary is totally under siege. My estimate is more than 99% of the judges, including the Supreme Court judges, are under pressure. I am saying more than 99% judges of India, including the Supreme Court judges, are under pressure. They are not able to administer justice true to their oath. Because every day you send a signal. When you appoint somebody at serial number 57, you convey that if you follow our advice, then you would be rewarded. And if you don't follow, like Justice Muralidhar, Justice Qureshi was one of the finest judges India produced. Justice Qureshi was never brought to Supreme Court. So message is clear. Justice Muralidhar only passed judgment in this Royals case that why are you not taking action? So somebody who is saying, why are you not taking action against those who say goli maro? Those who are saying goli maro, shoot them. They are discharged. What to talk of arrest? They are discharged. The High Court judge also say no, he said laughingly. What is this? What is it? Total mockery of justice. Total mockery of justice. Goli maro is mazak se bol diya. It's only a joke. And that man is made minister, one after the another portfolio is given. So, total, and they also reward people who abuse and criticize judiciary unnecessarily. Like that Nishkant Dubey, you see his statement, he blamed Chief Justice of India for riots. But he is never brought to books. He is not arrested. And somebody abusing Prime Minister, a man on the street, and the Prime Minister is now playing that victim card, oh, what happened to me? See, where is the democracy? The Prime Minister who himself is using derogatory language against women, like 50 crore ki girlfriend and Jersey guy and Vidhwa word. I mean, these cheap words, if somebody using, and now he's saying that somebody has abused me, he has abused the whole womanhood. What have you done? The living example I give, not only the President of India, who is a woman, is a decent, gentle lady, even she was not given respect by this Prime Minister, by this government.
That's true.
When Parliament was inaugurated, who was the first citizen? The President.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everybody saw that she wasn't invited at that point of time, and people did talk about that. But the second point which you mentioned was the bar is not speaking against all these anomalies
Hold
which
on.
are in the judiciary.
Totally.
Is that really a worrisome sign? Why is the bar not speaking? Bar is supposed to be speaking on these issues.
Niru, you know that history. In freedom struggle, lawyers were at the forefront. Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Nehru, Sardar Patel, Rajendra Prasad, Maulana Azad, all these lawyers, they were at forefront. And today these lawyers, these so-called leaders, I don't call them leaders, they are elected, corruptly elected representatives. I call, because most of them are corruptly elected. They are not the deserving one, because the deserving one would not win. They play games. So these corrupted elected representatives of lawyers are mainly responsible for all the mess in the country. Because judiciary could not stand. If the bar is strong, the judiciary cannot stand. There are innumerable number of examples when bar took stand, the government as well as judiciary, they surrendered. They surrendered means surrendered. That is the problem. I'll give you one example, Nilu. It immediately comes to my mind. I was only 4-year-old in profession. Only 4-year-old. When I came to know that Delhi High Court, 24 judges sitting together, had taken a decision that Delhi should be divided into 5 districts to provide justice at doorstep. Remember earlier there was only CJI court. But they were not implementing that decision. 24 judges sitting together were doing injustice. So I remember I made a statement that this Chief Justice is injustice. And I sat with other members under the leadership of New Delhi Bar. I sat on fast unto death. And within 84 hours, of course, 84 hours I was on fast with other friends. 24 judges of High Court, they surrendered. They literally surrendered, that they say, yes, Ashok, you gave us strength. And the process of bifurcation started, and today we have 9 districts. Imagine, to provide justice at doorstep. So if bar is together and bar is raising a valid point, judiciary has no option but to surrender and to agree. But if the bar is only doing pampering, then judiciary is happy. Somebody against whom there are serious allegations.
No, but Mr. Arora, what do you think are the constraints before the bar? Are they looking at creamy positions for themselves, which is why they are quiet? What is the constraint for the bar? Why they are not speaking?
Loose character, no credibility, no iman, no moral values. They are corrupt. No moral values, no concern. No concern that because of us, it is not me or ye, who is appointed. The result is 145 crore are suffering because of corrupt leaders of bar. 145 crore. You see what happened. You know, must be reading what happened in Gurgaon last night. 8 hours people are stuck. Somebody is to go to hospital. Somebody is to take flight.
Yes.
People are not able. And you are saying now 100 crore are below poverty line. 100 crore. 1 billion below poverty line, and the bar leaders, the so-called, again, leaders comes natural, but they are not leaders. These elected representatives, they are silent. Before judiciary, I blame bar. They don't speak. Just for little peanut. And what do they get? Tell me, what do they get? They get nothing. Actually, they get nothing. Actually, they are fools, I say. Just for short time, little gain, actually they are not getting anything. Do you think that, okay, I challenge them also, do you think their children respect them? You may give BMW or Ferrari to your son. I tell them again and again, even your son would be insulted. The friends would use that car, and end of the day, they'll say, oh, his father's corrupt money. That is why I try to shake their conscience that do something. Do something. And that is why society is suffering. Society is suffering only because of corrupted elected representatives of bar. Judiciary just cannot do anything. Nobody can appoint anybody who is not deserving if the bar is strong. They say, we are not going to court. Close the court for 2 days. Not even one message. Rather, they happily join the oath ceremony and say, yes, my lord, you are so deserving. We are so proud of you. They are telling somebody who was so corrupt, we are so proud of you. That is the difficulty. That is the difficulty, that. And Justice Nagaratna said something very beautiful again, that it is all because all these years, I don't blame this government, all these years, we have only focused on fundamental rights, not on fundamental duties. The fundamental duties enshrined in the Constitution, Article 51A, talks of introspection, developing scientific.
There's another case I want to talk to you about and that is the election petition. How SIR case has been handled by Justice Suryakant. Now that is also something which people are critically trying to appraise it, that why Justice Suryakant has been so lackadaisical in his approach when it comes to important issues like these. It just seems that it's not a priority when it comes to these kind of election petitions.
You see, Nilu, you know that law is, even if you are to impose 5 rupees penalty, you must show cause. Issue show cause notice to that person. You are required to show cause why penalty of 5 should not be imposed upon you. But when you take away the voting right, you don't issue any show cause. You just delete sitting in your drawing room or that corrupt election commission. 65 lakhs voters, they deleted. Even a first-year law student, not even a law student, a common man would have said, this is illegal, you quash it. And Justice Suryakant did not do that. He did great injustice as many times as you can say by not quashing that order. And why he did that, that also we know. Because there are complaints against Justice Suryakant, and he knows that if I take action, they would impeach me next day because complaints are already sitting with them. So this also they do. They have their dossier. If you have their dossier of a person who is to be appointed Chief Justice, instead of acting on that dossier and move impeachment, you blackmail him. Is as good as mathematics. You blackmail him and you get those orders. And Justice Suryakant did great injustice. I don't know how many generations would think on this, that why our father, grandfather, great-grandfather gave this judgment. Again, bar is not playing, the other bar is playing corrupt here. The lawyers appearing that Rakesh Dwivedi, I thought he was a gentleman. The arguments he has raised is ridiculous, undemocratic, and he is so-called senior designate lawyer and son of a judge. What does he want? Sure, through your platform, I want to ask, what do you want in life? You are born with golden spoon, you have been designated, you are earning good money, sometimes maybe 1 crore a day, and still you have sold your conscience. The arguments is total ridiculous arguments he's giving and telling lies. No parties before you. 60, and on same analogy, Nilu, the best point I think the court could consider was that, okay, if you feel that these voters were wrong, then this is the best point to set aside 24 election, parliament election. If you are saying that so many people were not entitled to vote and they voted in parliament, and Bihar's so many MPs are supporting this government, at least set aside those elections. And now it is not the case of Rahul Gandhi, it is the case of opposition. That man who is actually is a criminal, I say. What is his name? Thakur. He is saying that this happened in 35 constituencies. So if opposition is also saying that 35 constituencies had illegal voters or those who were not entitled to vote, then this is good point to set aside that election. This good point any court could say. Now ruling as well as opposition is saying that voter list was manipulated, so election is vitiated. There Thakur Anurag is saying that in 35 constituencies these voters were manipulated. And Rahul Gandhi is saying in one constituency he has produced that record. So is it not a good ground to set aside the election of Bihar? Or is it not a good ground to at least say that if you are saying those who voted in 24 are not entitled, why did you hold that election? So there were 100 grounds to quash that SIR, whatever SIR this election commission has floated by administrative order. So that is the pain.
No, but
yes.
Right. No, but in case of Justice Suryakant, he's supposed to be becoming the next Chief Justice according to the seniority. He is slated to become the next Chief Justice. What would you really say now if he's handling important and crucial matters in this manner? What would the country be if the reins of justice go into his hands?
It would be further deteriorated. The dictatorship would be more torturous for 145 crore people. So this is the right time, Nilu, you asked very good question, and this is the point the countrymen should ponder over, at least the intellectuals should ponder over, or the revolutionists and the comrades, that they should raise this voice that he should not be made and impeachment should be moved right now. And
you're saying impeachment against Justice Suryakant?
Naturally.
No, but are there enough evidences? Are there enough evidences to move an impeachment motion against him?
Against him, there is a complaint by the then sitting judge of Supreme Court, Justice Goyal, and that also he happened to be a BJP man.
Right.
Shakha wale log the wo. There is a complaint, serious complaint. I have seen that complaint. That complaint is very serious. That so many properties they have given the list. So many cases where it decided and flouted law, NDPS law to grant bail. Those are serious allegations. The government till date has not exonerated him. See how
no, but is it the reason why Justice Suryakant is trying to become holier than thou and giving all sorts of decisions which are favoring the government?
That is 100% true. You are 100% right. Because he is under pressure. He knows, like what they did with Dhankar. Either you resign or will move impeachment. If vice president of country is not safe, president is not safe. No, president, could she raise voice that I am resigning? I said, she is younger to me. I said, you are like my younger sister. Best is to resign, that they don't fight. And then if as number one citizen, I cannot inaugurate parliament, then I'm resigning. Okay, I'm going. These people, they are weak people. That is what I say. Gentleman or gentlewoman is not one who does not abuse or does not cheat. If you don't take stand, then also you are demolishing democracy. Had president resigned, who stops her from resigning, Baba? Why can't you resign? I said, you resign. Finish. Then he can't say, I have appointed women. So basically, they all blackmail that if you speak, we'll move impeachment. So therefore, they all appoint this Gujarati lobby and these dictators. They would appoint weak people, corrupt people. One day you say that he is chakki piecing 70 crore, 70,000 crore. Next day you use washing machine, BJP washing machine, and you make him minister. See, total democracy, that is why there is no democracy at all. No democracy. Total dictatorship for last more than 11 years. And weak character of people in power, in bar, or in judiciary, or in bureaucracy, they have further damaged the democracy, or destroyed the democracy. So unless people start taking stand, this would continue. He is right, he is not claiming on merit that we'll rule 50 years. He knows that, yes, we have everything under control. Judiciary is under control, media is under control, bureaucracy is under control, president is under control, vice president is under control. So where do you go? If you speak, you will be threatened. So that is why, I say, unless people speak, they will continue to rule. They will continue to rule. As it is, I am doubtful about Bihar.
Like you and me are talking about Justice Suryakant, and the judiciary might turn back and say, oh, he's a sitting judge. Why are you talking about him like that? And you never know, they might slap a contempt case against you. All these are dangers you're reporting and taking names of judges.
Why contempt? We are only saying that your colleague, Justice, the then sitting judge, has made a complaint. You investigate that complaint. Or okay, come out with a clean sheet, appoint some renowned judges to the committee and let them examine, and you say and acquit him. We'll be too happy. Okay, you acquit him. That keep that with them. That is what I'm saying. They don't acquit you. They hold that stick with them. That if you speak, we'll impeach. So just continue. They blackmail. That is what I'm saying. Why can't they acquit him? They should say all these allegations are nonsense. Justice Goyal, you are called for contempt. So first, Justice Goyal should be called for contempt. After all, Justice Goyal has written. We are speaking on the basis of what Justice Goyal has written. So first contempt would be on Justice Goyal if it is found false. But if it is truth and said in the interest of democracy or country or public man, this is no contempt. No contempt. Let them summon me for contempt. I'll tell them. Justice Goyal has given, I am saying investigate that. Why are you not investigating? And his judgment speak. Justice Suryakant's judgment speak. Let any international jurist examine Justice Goyal, Justice Suryakant's this this petition on SIR. People are laughing. 65, they say 6 million you have deleted sitting in room. What are you doing? I said, what do we do? We can only plead. We can only plead. This is the judge who is doing injustice, who has taken oath to do justice, is doing injustice. So is it not a ground for impeachment? But the problem, Milo, is other serious problem I am telling you. Even these political parties are also afraid of contempt, and their sleeper cells, those who get Rajya Sabha and all that in a platter, they are so-called jurists. They are so-called jurists. I call them. They are not authentic jurists. Authentic jurists would give correct advice. Their so-called jurists, they also threaten these political parties, Rahul, Akhilesh and all that. Please don't touch judges. Don't touch judges. Don't touch judges. So continue to suffer. You go for Bharat Yatra and you go for Bihar Yatra. They will manipulate. Haryana, they were losing. Maharashtra, they were losing. What they did. You did that wonderful story with Parakala, that 79 seats were stolen and still they don't take any action. The other lot of corrupt jurists, so-called jurists, you have to say because you have to identify, they call them jurists. Other corrupt lot of jurists supporting these parties, say Congress party, okay, I start with Congress. They also are thoroughly corrupt jurists because they demotivate you. Don't speak against judges. They don't tell them if you don't speak against judges, the corrupt judiciary is there. What would you do? Your whole yatra, every effort, I salute Rahul is making great effort. Sure, I don't have to take anything, but he's making efforts. At least that they are going village to village, yatra and all that. But where is the result? They don't understand where is the problem. How to prevent. Einstein said beautifully, he said intellectual will give you solution, but genius would tell you how to prevent it. You and me are not claiming to be genius, but how to prevent it? The prevention is in prevention of these judges, judicial system, corrupt lawyers in every party, corrupt lawyers in bar associations, corrupt leaders, elected representatives, not common man. I know common man is doing his job properly. I mean, honestly, they don't get chance. They are not interested in this. But those who are interested, you want to be president, but you don't want to speak. Why do you want to be president then? Be a commoner then. You want to be president and third time, fourth time, fifth time. So telling the word fifth time, I am corrupt. You have never taken stand. Never taken stand.
No, it's really sad. It's really sad to see the state of affairs. But my final question to you is: we've been speaking for the last 40 minutes, and we're starting with what is the.
I think your voice is cracking.
I'm saying say towards as to what is really happening in judiciary and should be dealt with. Very brief, you could say a few words. Yes.
See, the most important is that we should make people aware of their fundamental duties, introspection, and the other, the most important, immediate action should be that they should move impeachment against anybody who is delivering wrong judgment. Bar should take action, bar should take stand. The so-called leaders of the bar should take stand and say that 145 crore are suffering because of this corruption. Therefore, will not allow this corruption to continue. Can you hear me?
Yes. No. I lost your audio in between. If you could just repeat very briefly, and then I'll end the program.
I would say that the most important is that people should be made aware of fundamental duties, that introspection, spirit of inquiry, why I'm in this world. And secondly, especially these judges and corrupt people in every system. And most importantly, the lawyers, I take responsibility on the lawyers community, the leaders of the bar, the so-called leaders, even if they are elected corruptly, they should take stand and say, will not take anything, any nonsense or any body being demotivated. And there should be inquiry. These judgments like Justice Naveen Chawla's judgment should be investigated by some jurist. Suryakant's complaint should be investigated by some jurist. And they should give report, and the political parties should follow that jurist, not their own sleeper cell Rajya Sabha members. Those who just want Rajya Sabha. Otherwise, we'll continue to suffer another, I don't know how many years, they say 50 years or 60 years.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Arora. It was a pleasure having you on the program, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.